Have you ever been caught in like a really high stakes workplace, he said, she said dispute? The kind of absolute nightmare where someone's faulty memory totally obscures the truth?
Oh, yeah, and fingers just start pointing in every possible direction.
Exactly.
Because in those moments of sheer panic, human memory is just incredibly fragile, especially when professional reputations are suddenly on the line.
Right. And that is exactly the problem Aries Chan tackles in this article from Experience, Beyond the Lens. It's called How to Protect the Record, the Power of the Digital Paper Trail.
And it makes a really fascinating argument, actually.
Yeah, it argues that the ultimate witness to clear your name is actually sitting right inside your software. So, okay, let's unpack this. We are taking a deep dive into how digital data isn't just, administrative overhead. It's actually an active shield for your career.
Right. And that's the core shift in perspective here. I
Right.
mean, we usually think of document tracking as this boring IT function.
Oh, 100%.
But Chan illustrates how it's actually a vital defense mechanism against workplace conflict.
So to see this paperless trail in action, the source material highlights a real-world municipal meltdown. What exactly went wrong there?
Well, it was basically a complete chain of command crisis. A municipal ordinance was suddenly invalidated during a provincial review.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and instantly, the blame just shifted straight down the ladder to this one staff member in the Research and Policy Unit.
Wait, really? They just instantly blamed one person?
Yep. The accusation was that this employee had unilaterally changed a committee report from saying valid to invalid.
Which completely stalls the entire workflow and honestly threatens someone's livelihood.
Exactly.
It sounds exactly like a high-stakes game of telephone. A complex message gets passed down the line, something breaks, and you really have to wonder, can we ever truly trust human memory over hard data when people are just scrambling to save face?
The short answer is no. And the team in this scenario actually realized that. Instead of assigning premature blame based on, who remembered what, they conducted what's called a version audit.
A version audit.
Yeah, they went into the shared documents edit history. And that captures the metadata, like the invisible timestamps and specific keystrokes attached to every single user.
So it's like having an impartial referee right on the field. Instead of two players arguing over who kicked the ball out of bounds, you just, I don't know, roll back the instant replay.
Precisely. And that instant replay proved the report was submitted as invalid from the very beginning.
No way. So the alleged change never even happened.
It never happened. The document was processed exactly as received, and the accuser had to fully acknowledge their oversight.
What a massive relief for that staff member. I can't even imagine.
What's fascinating here is the psychological shift. I mean, this wasn't just about catching a mistake.
Right. It's bigger than that.
Exactly. A version audit takes the emotion, the bias, and the ego out of the equation entirely. It shifts the confrontation from person versus person to person versus data. Transparency creates a system that protects the workers just as much as it protects the documents.
Wow, yeah. So how do you actually apply this protective layer to your own workflow? Because, just telling a team to track their work usually fails miserably.
Oh, it absolutely fails. Which is why Chan's roadmap starts with centralization. You really have to ditch offline files for shared environments, like Google Docs or Microsoft 365.
Because the moment you download a file and attach it to an email, you've broken the chain of custody.
Exactly. That continuous verifiable trail of who touched the document and when is just gone.
That makes perfect sense. You need everyone playing in the exact same sandbox.
Hard.
But once you're in that shared space, what's the actual protocol when a discrepancy happens?
Well, respecting the audit trail by checking the version history has to become your immediate reflex, like long before anyone starts assigning blame.
That's a huge shift in habit.
And to prevent disputes entirely, you have to clear the path with real-time transparency. If you make a major change, you use the suggestions or comments features to explain your reasoning right alongside the edit.
Ah, so you're preserving the why right next to the what?
Exactly. You create this context-rich history
Yeah.
that anyone can follow months down the line.
But let me challenge that for a second. Doesn't relying on a digital trail for every single thought become, like, a crutch?
How do you mean?
Well, if we have to document our reasoning in a comment every time we change a sentence, are we losing the ability to just have a direct verbal conversation? Or is this simply the required layer of security that verbal instructions just can no longer match?
I'd say it's the latter, without a doubt. It's an evolution, not a crutch.
Yeah.
I mean, verbal instructions rely on the assumption of perfect recall, which simply does not exist in a busy office. Moving your workflow into a tracked space provides a really necessary security blanket for everyone involved.
It really does provide that security blanket. I mean, you never have to play that stressful game of telephone again because the data remembers perfectly.
Right.
But that leaves you with an interesting final thought to consider. If our digital workspaces are recording every single keystroke and every deleted thought to protect the record, how might that constant, invisible surveillance subtly change the way you brainstorm and take creative risks in your early drafts? The game of telephone might be over, but you really have to wonder what happens when the microphone is always recording.